Hey, what is up? Today I am Fair Donahue. I will be able to give you fair assessments of anything and everything. You put in the comments what I should fairly assess, and I'll rate it for you. I'm not going to be doing a rating out of 10 because that is very limiting. You have two things that could be 7 out of 10, and one thing could be awful. The other one could be pretty good, and you just rate it 7 out of 10. So I'm also not going to be rating things out of 100 because that yields a percentage. And even though it could be like 63% of this is actually good content, and then, or let's say we're doing a YouTube channel, 63% of it is actually good content, but some of the good content is much better than 100% on the scale. So in order to extend out the scale, in order to make things fair, I'm going to be rating things out of 1,000. So I'm going to give you 3 digits on anything. I'm going to try to fairly assess anything and everything. Just put in the comments below. This is a pretty new channel. I will, just said it about 14 times, I will fairly assess just about anything and everything. I don't have a personal bias on anything at the moment, and if I did, I would make sure to assess it and take off some points if I give it too high, or increase some points if I give it too low. Things can change over time, but I'm going to start today with a very famous movie that you guys should probably know. It's called The Dark Knight. Now, the thing about The Dark Knight is that it is 9 out of 10 on IMDb, it's 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 84% on Metacritic. However, 96% of people who looked at this on Google actually liked this movie. And I'll increase it, so I'll press like as well. It is an absolutely fantabulous 4-act it is an absolutely fantastic 4-act movie, and it doesn't make it feel that way. So, looking at the definition on Wikipedia, because that's the first thing I'm going to be doing every single time, I'll start with the definition, and then we'll move on. So the definition of The Dark Knight movie is a 2008 superhero film produced and co-written by Christopher Nolan, featuring the DC Comics character Batman. The film is the second part of Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy and a sequel to 2005's Batman Begins, starring an ensemble cast including Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Heath Ledger, Gary Oldman, Aaron Eckhart, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and Morgan Freeman. This is just absolutely fantastic cast. So the casting has to be an A+, casting has to be 900 or above, and it's also what I appreciate about the Marvel films. They're able to give the casting way up there. But I'm not going to be speaking about Marvel films. I'm just going to be speaking about The Dark Knight. Pretty simple. Stars amazing. The music is absolutely fantastic. Cinematography is excellent. It's edited excellently. You can watch this movie over and over and over again, and it will still give you that same joy. Now, I understand not everyone can possibly enjoy this. Nothing I rate is possibly going to be a full 1,000, because that's just not possible in today's society. You can't get a perfect thing that everyone agrees on. Even if nobody speaks out and it ends up being 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, it may be a 99 on some other things, or just a 60 if Rotten Tomatoes is really that wrong. So this came out in 2008, about 10 years ago, and it's still relevant today. You can still make memes, still make jokes about it today. Let's talk about what else about the movie. There's the plot. Okay, I see this. So the plot revolves around Batman coming back. Batman being the Dark Knight. Now the title is what I really wanted to give it credit for, because the title is absolutely excellent. It makes sense. Batman is the Dark Knight. It's coming off of the comic book of this. Now, I don't think anyone's going to get tired of comic books even today. But if you want to make a good comic book and get a good rating on this scale, you have to be able to apply what the comic books say. You can't just create your own completely original material without giving at least some reference to comic books, if you're getting it originally from a comic book. I think what I said was possible. I'm going to look over it and just to make sure. However, the plot revolves around Batman coming back. He's not the Dark Knight Rises. It's not him rising out of being the Dark Knight. This is the third in a trilogy, which this needs to be a good movie if the trilogy wants to be good. And if the trilogy is not very good, kind of like the trilogy of the Avengers movies, you have Avengers, Age of Ultron, and then Avengers Infinity War. So the first Avengers movie, that was good. It set up the whole MCU, in addition to the other movies, and it expanded it beyond just individual films. And that was really good. I really liked that. But then it comes Avengers Age of Ultron, which left a lot to be desired. And that's going to be the exact wording you should use on that type of movie. It's not a bad movie. It's entertaining. It can be hilarious. And it sets the heroes down, and you feel like the heroes are going to lose, and then they come back and they end up winning. So it left a lot to be desired. It was still a good movie, but it's not an Avengers-style good movie. It didn't live up to the hype. And then we have Avengers Infinity War, which completely lived up to the hype and beyond. So, when it comes down to creating a good trilogy, the trilogy of the Avengers movies is not as good as the series of Marvel movies wants you to believe. The series of Marvel movies is very, very good. And that's an understatement. But the series of Avengers movies is actually much lower. Avengers Infinity War is really good, followed by the Avengers and then Avengers Age of Ultron. So because that middle movie doesn't necessarily connect them as well as it could, it diminishes the impact of the Avengers. Not so much Avengers Infinity War just because of how recent it is. Let's see. The plot is really good. And that's very, very good. Let's see. Did it win any awards? I don't know. I really hope it did. It's absolutely deserving. But before I get to the awards, let's get to the director, Christopher Nolan, who directed the #1 film on my list. I have a list of many different films. Let's see what The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is number 3. Yes. The third best movie I've ever seen in my short life. I've only had about... I shouldn't say my age, but I've had 20 years, give or take 5. So, there you go. I'm somewhere between 15 and 25 years old. I think it's pretty easy to tell that I'm a young guy. And I can still admire things that happened 10 years ago, and I can still admire Christopher Nolan and his works. It's absolutely genius the way it works. Of course, it is a thriller, and when you hear thriller, when I personally hear thriller, I don't think about it as being a necessarily good movie. You can scare people with a thriller, you can terrify them, because scaring and terrifying are two separate things. And you can make them feel like they need to do something. You can scare them into doing something, motivating them. And this thriller is the kind that leaves you edge of your seat entertained. Now, I cannot talk about The Dark Knight without getting into the Joker. Now, many college professors prefer you to write a story on some sort of movie, and the best movie to write about is this one, mainly because there's so much other writing that you can base your stuff off. There's tons of everything. This is absolutely awesome. Okay. Let's see. The Joker, he is just the best. Heath Ledger, absolutely awesome actor. May he rest in peace. Rip in peace. Oh yeah, I'm a memer. I know that. In the film, the Joker has a Glasgow smile, and his trademark chalk white skin and red lips are makeup rather than the result of chemical bleaching, as in the traditional portrayal of the Joker, like Jack Napier. I added the Jack Napier part, the rest was a quote from Wikipedia. I trust Wikipedia as a good source. I don't know why teachers didn't trust it. Teachers didn't trust it before. I can get that, but nowadays Wikipedia is just unbiased, very true. And if there is a problem, you can report it, and they will change it very quickly. So I can rely on Wikipedia. There's nothing consistent when it comes to the Joker. Other than the fact that he's consistently insane, but then he makes good points. So the Joker is just absolutely awesome. And when is this coming out? Is this going to come out? Okay, we're recording this October 1st. It's coming out October 6th, I think. Alright, whatever. When this comes out, this movie is just the absolute best. However, I did have to list it at number 3 on my scale, just because Oh wait. Oh man. Okay, I took a look, and I put the Dark Knight as number 4, even though I kept saying it was number 3. So I want to correct that. The Dark Knight is number 4 on my list. You guys could ask me what number 3, number 2, and even number 1 is. I will be dealing with number 2 next time. Okay, we've gone over about 10 minutes. No one can pay attention longer than 10 minutes in this YouTube society today. So I'm going to leave it off as the final ranking that I have to put it is the number 4th best movie of all time. As of now, I'm going to leave the score out of 1,000. I'm going to give this a 927.